7 Soviet fighters, 1 American pilot, the fight that almost started World War III and was buried for 50 years. November 18th, 1952, the Japan Sea. The water is the color of old iron. Snow is coming, not falling yet, but the sky has the particular weight of a sky that has already made up its mind. The USS Oriskany runs at speed, her deck angled into a wind cold enough to matter. On her flight deck, the aircraft are being brought up from below. Lieutenant Commander Royce Williams climbs into his F-9F Panther. He is 30 years old. The Panther is a straight-wing jet, not the newest thing in the sky, not the fastest thing in the sky, but it is what the Navy flies off carriers in 1952, and Williams has flown it enough to know exactly what it will and will not do. The mission is escort. 4 Panthers covering a photo reconnaissance aircraft up near the Soviet border. Vladivostok is close enough that on a clear day, you could almost see it. Today is not a clear day. Today is snow and gray and a ceiling low enough to matter. The Panthers launch. They climb. They find their station. Then the radar operator on the Oriskany sees something that changes everything. 7 contacts coming fast from the north. Soviet MiG-15s. The MiG-15 is not a plane you dismiss. The Soviets built it with German aerodynamic research and a British engine, an engine the British sold them, which is one of the more uncomfortable stories of the early Cold War. It climbs faster than the Panther. It accelerates faster. Its 37mm cannon hits harder than anything the Panther carries. The men flying these MiGs are not conscripts. They are experienced Soviet Air Force pilots, Belyakov and Vandayev among them, who have been flying combat since before the war ended. They know what they are doing. What they are doing right now is coming straight at Williams and his section. The section leader sees the contacts and calls a break. Then his engine develops a problem, real or convenient, it does not matter, and he turns for the carrier. A second Panther goes with him. Williams and his wingman are now 2 against 7. Then the wingman's radio fails. He cannot coordinate. He pulls away. Royce Williams is alone. The radio crackles from the fleet. NSA monitoring has tracked the Soviet transmissions. The message comes through clearly. Do not engage. This could start World War III. Williams looks at his radar. 7 MiGs at high speed, closing fast, weapons hot. I'm already in it, he says. The first MiG comes in high and fast. Williams breaks into it, hard left, pulling G's, the Panther groaning, and gets inside the turn. His 20mm cannons fire. The MiG takes hits and breaks away, trailing smoke. 1 down. But there are 6 more, and they are not confused. They are angry, and they are coordinated, and they begin working the problem of Royce Williams from multiple angles simultaneously. The sky around him is full of aircraft. MiGs pass close enough that he can see the red stars on their fuselages. Time does not feel the way time normally feels. Everything is slow and fast at once. He gets a second MiG, then a third. 3 down, 4 remaining. And now, the mathematics start working against him in a different way. A 37mm shell hits his right wing. The hydraulic system takes the hit. The rudder goes. He has no directional control from the pedals. He can still use his ailerons, but the aircraft has become something different, something that requires constant compensation, something that wants to kill him independently of the 4 MiGs still trying to do the job themselves. He keeps fighting. The Panther is taking hits. The airframe is absorbing punishment that should have ended the fight already. Williams works the ailerons against the aircraft's tendency to depart controlled flight, manages the throttle against the aircraft's tendency to lose energy at exactly the wrong moment, and keeps the nose pointed at whatever presents itself. A fourth MiG breaks off trailing fire. The remaining three, perhaps calculating their own fuel states, perhaps calculating something else, break off and head north. The fight is over. Royce Williams takes stock of his situation. The rudder is gone. The hydraulics are damaged throughout. The aircraft is handling like something that has been in a fight, because it has been in a fight, because 263 shells and fragments have passed through it in places that matter. He points the nose south toward the Oriskany. The Oriskany's deck crew hears the radio calls and begins preparing for what the duty officer quietly calls a catastrophic landing. The barrier is rigged, the crash crew's position. The medical team moves to the deck edge. Everyone who does not need to be topside goes below. Williams makes his approach. The Panther is not right. The controls require constant input to keep the wings level and the aircraft tracking toward the carrier. Normal approach speed for the Panther is around 105 knots. Williams is coming in at 170. At 170 knots, a carrier landing is not a landing. It is a controlled collision with a moving object. The Oriskany begins a turn. The carrier is turning under him because the deck officer has done the calculation and determined that the only way to get Williams' aircraft onto the deck at this speed and this angle is to move the deck to meet the aircraft rather than wait for the aircraft to find the deck. The ship turns, the deck swings, the angle closes. Williams hits the deck. The tail hook catches. The wire takes the load. The aircraft stops. Royce Williams sits in the cockpit for a moment. The deck crew moves around the aircraft and then stops moving because what they are looking at does not make sense. They begin counting holes. They count 263 before they stop. Not because there are only 263, but because that is enough. The aircraft will never fly again. Williams climbs out. 3 days later, Royce Williams is called in. The debrief is thorough. The intelligence officers ask precise questions and take precise notes. At the end, he is told something that he will carry for the next 50 years. This did not happen. The records of the engagement are classified. The intercepts that captured the Soviet pilot transmissions are buried. The official report is edited to remove the nationality of the aircraft Williams fought. He engaged unidentified aircraft. That is the official story. That is the story that protects the fragile fiction that American and Soviet forces are not directly killing each other in the skies over Korea. A fiction both governments have agreed to maintain because the alternative is a conversation that ends with nuclear weapons. Williams receives the Silver Star. The Silver Star is a significant decoration. It is not, however, the Navy Cross. The Navy Cross is what you give a pilot who fights 7 enemy aircraft alone and shoots down 4 of them and brings a destroyed aircraft back to the carrier. The Silver Star is what you give him when you cannot explain publicly why he deserves the Navy Cross. He does not complain. He goes back to work. He keeps the secret for 50 years because he was asked to keep it, and he is that kind of man. Royce Williams is 100 years old in 2022. He is still alive. He has been alive long enough to watch the Soviet Union dissolve, to watch the Cold War end, to watch the classified records from Korea begin to surface in declassification reviews. Long enough to watch researchers piece together what happened over the Japan Sea on November 18th, 1952, from the American records and the Soviet records simultaneously. The Soviet records, it turns out, confirm everything. Belyakov's after-action report describes the engagement from the other side, the American Panther, that would not go down, that kept fighting, that shot down multiple Soviet aircraft before the survivors broke off. The Soviets knew what happened. They kept their secret too. In 2022, the United States Navy awards Royce Williams the Navy Cross. He is 100 years old. He stands in his uniform. He receives the medal that was decided on 70 years ago and then put in a drawer because the geopolitics of 1952 required it to stay there. The citation describes what he did in November 1952. It uses the word Soviet. That word could not have appeared in any document in 1952. It appears now because enough time has passed that the truth no longer threatens to end the world. Williams holds the medal. He has been holding it for 70 years. This is just the first time anyone could see it. The Soviet pilots he fought that day were good, some of the best in the world. They came 7-1, and they did not bring him down. The Navy gave him the wrong medal for 50 years to protect a secret that both sides were keeping. He kept the secret. He kept flying. He kept living. At 100 years old, standing in his uniform, Royce Williams finally got what November 18th, 1952, actually earned him. It just took the world a little longer to be ready to say so. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, click the bell icon, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new videos.